yeah. What do you think happens
Okay.
after we die?
So
What do you think?
what do I think happens after we die? I think that so there are kind of two thoughts of this. Um,
Hmm.
one is one is like I don't know if you've ever seen a dead person, but like at least
Yeah, sure.
yeah, like my grandma, like after she died, or well, my grandfather after he died, like I looked at him and like before he was very lively, and like after he died he looked like a wax figure. So like there's definitely
Yes.
something there. I have no idea. I think it's a soul.
Hmm.
I think it's a soul, but
Hmm. Yeah.
I think that like our actual natural body. I don't think that there's an afterlife. I think we die and we're dead, and we go
Okay.
into the ground and we are recycled. Um, we
Okay. Yeah.
decompose. Yeah, that's my thought. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I believe that there is a God, a creator, a judgment day, and an afterlife. Afterlife, and maybe, well, I think it's, and based on your YouTube name, I'm assuming you're a person who likes talking and discussing things, not just for the sake of hearing, but for the sake of engagement. Is that correct? Are you willing to
Yes.
sort of talk about, or yeah, cool. So, my question would be based on your system. So, do you believe that there is some sort of God, some sort of creator who sets up the universe and sets up this system that you believe in, or you would say there's no creator or authority over it all?
Oh God. I mean, my question is my
Hmm.
question is, and I don't know the answer. But so the question that I go to is, was there something that intentionally made this system, made this kind of
Hmm.
matrix thing,
Hmm.
or did it happen unintentionally? And I think it happened unintentionally. And I think that there is just like I think there was a an intersectional moment, the Big Bang, that just like all of these
Hmm.
things happened, and
Hmm.
all of these rules for how the world
Hmm.
um, works just kind of like just were set in place.
Hmm.
I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, so yeah, well, I don't think rules are set up by accident. That would be my first sort of response. There, I don't think rules are set up by accident.
Oh.
No system of rules in this world is accidental in the sense that, like, if I break the road rules, the reason that the road rules are the road rules um, is because someone enforces them, someone sets them up, and someone gives the justice for breaking them.
Hmm. Yeah. That I think that there is a belief in justice being laden in that viewpoint. I don't know if justice is like I mean look at evolution, right? Like evolution is
Mm-hmm.
not in place, I don't think, because or like things didn't happen because of justice. Things happened because of coincidence and accident and over the course of millions and millions of years. So I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know so much of justice. If I
Yeah,
don't know if history actually does bend towards justice. I'm not. I would like to hope
not so
so.
much,
You
not
know
so
what I mean?
much not so much saying that history bends toward justice. What I am saying, I think there should be justice, but what I'm saying is that
Right.
rules require a rule maker and a rule enforcer. Rules don't author themselves. Rules don't come about by accident. In order for them to be rules, someone has to have set them and keep them there. Someone has to enforce them. And so the fact that I think there are rules that govern the universe would imply to me that there's someone who sets them there and keeps them there.
Okay. I mean,
Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I yeah. I don't just don't know about that. I think
Hmm.
that for like I think that we are thinking about I love the framework, but I think that it's also thinking about it in a paradigm of human beings with the idea that human control is
Yeah.
the way to thrive, is the way to exist and to
Okay.
progress. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know if that. I don't know if that's the pinnacle. I think there is
I don't think it
so
is.
right. Yeah, and so
I don't think human control. I think human control is what's making the world a mess. 8 billion people thinking that they're in charge and they're in control is 8 billion people trying to run the world their own way when they don't have that authority. I think selfishness is the killer of humanity.
yeah,
So my question maybe here, maybe this might help, but there's got a few things I think that would lead me to the conclusion of a of some sort of supreme authority who actually is in charge. Maybe think about your house, for example. Have you ever met the person who built your house?
no,
No, me either, right? But do you believe someone built it still?
yes,
Yeah, of course. And what makes you certain there's a builder for your house, even though you haven't met the guy?
I well, if there weren't a person that built the house, then there wouldn't be. It would just be a normal plot of land.
Right, right. And so my logic flowing from that would be in the same way the fact that the universe has a beginning would lead me to the conclusion that there must be a creator for the universe who exists outside of the universe. Does that logically flow that the universe wouldn't
Yeah.
exist without
Well,
a creator?
yeah. I mean, yes, but I mean, like, I think that it could also there is a way for the universe and for the way things are to happen in cycles, but not cycles, more
Hmm.
like spirals, right? Like the
Okay.
expansion and contraction of the universe happens after
Mm.
certain things happen, and it just continues again and again in a loop and a
Okay.
spiral that just continues on through time. I think, like,
Not sure about the contraction of the universe though. So the reason being, so that was a theory proposed in the 90s. We then discovered in the late 90s that the universe is expanding at an exponential rate. It's getting faster and faster and faster, which would be the opposite of our proposal, which is expansion and contraction. So expansion goes out, slows down, and then comes back, whereas we're experiencing it going out and it's going faster and faster away. The opposite of contraction. And
uh,
so, I'm not sure expansion and contraction. In fact, I would say that based on current scientific understanding, we aren't in a universe that's expanding and contracting, just expanding.
I mean, the thing is that I don't think anyone has any idea. I think right now what we know, what scientists have proven is that the universe
Mm-hmm.
is expanding exponentially, and there's no way to, there's like, right, but what happens? Like, it just continues. It just continues and continues and continues. So what happens when
Mm-hmm.
the universe just
Mm-hmm.
completely
Yeah.
expands to the point where, like, our atoms are being stretched? Like, there has to be an opposite reaction eventually. Maybe I also have no idea.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know if that's a definite, but my point though is that I don't think though to argue that the universe is sort of cyclical or helical
In
in nature
function, right? Yeah.
is a is yeah, I think that'd be an assumption that I still wouldn't deal with the fact that because the universe does begin, like it comes from somewhere, because all matter is temporal, all matter is bound by time, meaning that for matter to exist, there has to be some cause for it or beginning for it outside of our universe. Everything, because the law of cause and effect, everything with a beginning has an external cause. So if our universe exists with a beginning, doesn't that lead to the conclusion that there has to be something out of the side of the universe that actually causes the universe to be in existence
Yeah,
that isn't the
absolutely.
universe?
Yeah, I am a big proponent of, like, the multiverse theory, where, I mean, we have no
Mm-hmm.
idea, like, how, and like, I understand that, what you're, at least from my perspective of what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
is the at least to me, I'm perceiving what your kind of, like, line of inquiry as moving towards proving that God is real, which I think, right? Is that the intention that?
Mm-hmm. So So what I'm demonstrating is I think it would be dishonest for us to look at what we know about the universe and say that there isn't a creator. I think the what we know of the universe demonstrates a need for a creator, and that the universe couldn't exist the way that it does without one. But first point being that the universe couldn't exist at all without an external creator
Hmm.
before. There would be no there would be
I,
nothing
th-
without a
I
creator.
think what's interesting is like I mean I pretty much agree that there is something so much bigger than us that has influenced us into creation, right? Like, and I think the word
Mhm.
creator is a word that kind of turns me off because it's like I don't know. I don't know why that word turns me off so much. But like why can't it be
Yeah.
something that brought us into existence that is also not framed as a creator? You know what I mean?
Right. I think yeah. Maybe put it this way, because I'm hearing what you're saying, and this is very common and very normal in the conversation I've had with people like this, which is basically this. We don't like the idea of an ultimate authority. We don't like the idea of someone who really does have the final call, the final say on everything, and has the authority to tell us how to live. Like I don't think people like that idea. Why? Because that would inhibit us from being able to do what we desire or what we want.
Like taking away free will, pretty much.
Well, not just like I think we can still make choices. Like I think we're still able to do what we want. Like I think it's like the same way we interact with our maybe slightly differently, but the same way we interact in general with our government, for example. The government sets the rules. I can choose to obey them or disobey them. Like I can do what they say or not do what they say. They will just give me my punishment if I've disobeyed them. So my will is free in the sense that I can choose to do what I desire. It's bound by my nature, but I'm not forced to obey. But I know that if I do disobey, there is a punishment. And so the sort of the equation people have in their mind is the punishment worth the risk, basically. So our wills are still technically free. We still have choice in
Yeah.
that sense. But
Well, that
yeah.
that gets us into an interesting idea of like what our
Mhm.
destiny is, right? Because like in my mind, what you're talking about is that there are rules and there are not rules. The rules are to
Mhm.
follow our creative light and passion to the highest heights of our creative ability, right? That's our destiny,
Okay.
right? Do you think?
Okay. I'm not sure that's. I'm not quite. I don't think the end goal is us. I don't think the end goal is creation. I think the end goal has to be outside of creation, because creation isn't self-existent, or it doesn't. Creation doesn't give itself purpose. Purpose comes from outside of the creation.
So, like, what do you think? Do you believe in destiny?
Like I believe that in practice, so I believe that there is a course of events that are going to take place in this world that are go to according to the plan of the creator. But I believe in practice, our job isn't to try and find that course of events so much as it is to do what we're designed to do. We can't know the future. We don't have authority over the future. But what we do have is the ability to make the right choices in each scenario.
So, for you, like, what do you believe is our purpose as human beings, as
Mm.
self-aware
To
human beings?
to demon yeah, to demonstrate who our creator is.
How do we do that?
How do we do that? By acting like him, by copying him. And so, just as you would look at something like an artist designs art for the purpose of demonstrating something about themselves. I think our creator has created us to
Yeah.
show who he
Well,
is.
I think this is exactly what I was talking about. We're just using different words. I think that like like our destiny, our purpose is to reach the highest potential, the highest creative potential possible in ourselves to reflect the likeness of God, right? To reflect the likeness of
Hmm.
the Creator that we are. And so
Yeah.
I feel like the idea of like when you were talking about the universe in terms of the social societal rules and expectations, you can either choose to break the law or not. I feel like choosing to follow the law is to, like you were saying, follow your creative instincts, right? And like an artist creating and reflecting uh, uh, that that a human being's purpose is to create with the fire of their own passion and viewpoint of the
Okay.
world, right?
Okay.
That's, to me, that's what I think life is about.
Yeah.
Is to follow your
I,
passion,
I
to
think
follow your creative desire, to also help to bring people together in a loving, empathetic, and proactive way.
so. What I'm hearing though is sort of that you're saying that we get to be the determiner of how we should act, and it's almost so. I think the system is very similar. And you're saying we should be the best of who we want to be, whereas I'm sort of saying the best that we are is actually to represent God, so to be like God. So
Interesting.
and I'll show you the slight difference is
I
this. So
think
you're
I
sort of
hear it.
saying
Yeah.
the best that we have is to be our own God. It seems like, and I'm saying the best we have is to reflect the God who is. Would be the slight difference there. Do you see the? So you're saying
I
I want to
do.
be the fullness of what's within me and show it outwardly. I'm saying what my goal purpose is actually is to be like a mirror to reflect who the Creator is and show who He is by demonstrating who He's made me.
I agree that is. I agree with your wording of it and your reflection of that. Now, my question for you is, because I feel like I'm always aiming to do that. I care about that. I care about being a
Mm-hmm.
reflection of God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in practical terms, how do you believe that those two approaches are practically different? And in what
Mm.
way?
So
Yeah. In what
yeah,
way? I'm
yeah, yeah,
learning.
yeah.
In what ways can I improve? You know.
Right. So in practice, I think that the difference is this: is if I'm trying to show what's within me for the sake of showing what's within me, I'm setting myself up as the ultimate authority. So I'm saying, I think this is good. I desire this. I think this is right. And I think the problem with that is this: I'm not the owner of the universe. I didn't create it. I didn't give myself life. I don't own the air that I'm breathing. And so for me to then say I'm the standard is for me to be basically unimaginably arrogant, pointing to myself as what I should be. Whereas if I say I'm simply designed as a reflection to show who the creator is and what he is like and to reflect what he wants me to be, him being the end goal, I'm putting myself in my proper position and therefore I'm actually able to do what I should do or able to reflect what I should be, which is to reflect the creator rather than myself.
So it's more about action, and not showing, like not demonstrating but doing.
Well, I think you demonstrate by doing. So maybe think about it this way: if I'm a mirror meant to reflect who God is, so the way that I should live then is I should be demonstrating His authority in seeking to act like Him. So God's a God of truth. I should therefore be truthful. He's a God of kindness. I should be kind. A God of respect. I should be respectful. A God of compassion. I should be compassionate. Like go down the list. Or a God of ownership. I shouldn't steal. And you go down the list of things, and I say, so my way of demonstrating who God is actually by copying Him and by acting like Him. But He's also made me unique. So God is creative. I should be creative as well. I can use what I've been given by God to demonstrate, like the guy who made phones, the guy who designed cars, the people who made computers are demonstrating things that they've been given by God in making it. People who make glorious music or great paintings or take photos are showing things about God, not just in their ability to create as a image bearer of God, but also in the great benefits that it has for other people. And so,
Dude, what a
like, I
wonderful
think that's how it's
you're a
meant to show.
wonderful orator. You're a wonderful orator.
Well, sure, but thank you. But I'd praise God for giving me that ability.
So for you, like, in what way do you think, like, in what way in your life do you feel like you have most are you most proud of being a reflection of God?
Well, this is sort of that sort of image of how we're meant to live, I think leads us to one thing before we get to our reflection. I think that the point is this. I've failed to do that, right? And I think everyone has. In that sense, in that although practically I would say my point is to reflect who God is, in practice, how do I live or how do people live? I don't go, how does God want me to live? How can I honor God? I go, what do I want? What do I desire? What do I think is best for myself? So when someone makes the computer, although they're meant to be demonstrating the glory of their creator, they're thinking, what money can I make out of this? When someone takes a good picture, instead of going, how good is the God who made that, and how wonderful is the gift and the talent and all the things that made cameras, we're going, I'm a really good photographer. Look at me. And so we're demonstrating who God is, but instead of giving God the glory for the demonstration, we're not demonstrating who God is in that we're going, I want the glory for that great work. I want and so I think our failure is. So have I ever honored God or glorified God perfectly? I don't think I ever have, in the sense that I think I've always taken credit or always had selfish motive in every action that I've ever done that should be glorifying God. I've actually pointed to myself.
You feel like every single thing you've ever done has been that way?
Well, I don't think I could say with any level of confidence that I've been truly selfless and truly focused on serving God for a single action of my entire life. Like, you could look at my life and say, those are some really nice things that you did. Look at those great actions that you did and those great selfless things that you did outwardly. But I can't trust that my intention
Well,
in my heart at any point was truly God above
well,
myself.
so let me ask you this then, because I think it gets down to this question: is the reason that you're on here speaking to spread the word of God, or is it to win in an argument or a conversation and to prove that you're right?
Mm. It's technically, I would say, more closer to the first. I don't want to win an argument,
Yeah.
like in that
Well,
sense. Well, I do in that
well, right. But I'm saying,
I think I'm.
but
Yeah.
I think that that leads this conversation to prove to yourself that you are doing
Mhm.
this for a good purpose, right?
Well, but the thing about this, if I think though that I gain God's favor by spreading His word, you might say, yes, He's not just trying to be mean. Is doing things that inherently aren't evil, but that would still be selfishness. If I'm only seeking to do something to get something from God, that's still selfishness. That's still living for myself as the end goal. I'm manipulating God or using God as
Hmm.
the end goal for myself. I'm saying if I do this for God, then He'll give me what I want,
So
which would still be
for
selfishness.
you, how do you think for you, like, do you see
Mm,
there being a crack in the armor of your ego to be able to break through in some way? And how do you think that
yeah,
how do you think you'll be able to accomplish that?
I can't, which is why I'm a Christian, and I'll explain. I believe that God, instead of giving me the justice I deserve for my failure to represent Him, came into His own creation and did the perfect job. He lived perfectly as a human being, and then took the punishment I deserve for my failure upon Himself on a cross. So that instead of me being punished for my failure, I can still give glory to God by being a failure who's been saved by a kind God, a God who actually saves me from what I deserve by His own work, therefore glorifying Himself all the more. And therefore, like this, put this together. So I've sort of just introduced a whole new idea, but the point on the end then, and therefore, if I know I deserve punishment, but I've been saved by God, it's my gratitude to God for what He has done for me that now motivates the way that I live. I now want to show who God is, not just because He deserves to be shown, but also because of how greatly He has loved me when I deserve punishment. And I get to show my love for God because of what He's done for me. I get to demonstrate my response of gratitude based to Him based on the fact that He's already saved me from what I deserve. If that was a really messy last sentence, but I hope
Yeah.
that
Well, no,
makes sense.
it's. I think this is the trickiness, at least for me, for with
Mm-hmm.
Christianity, is that like if to me my mind always goes to what is the belief in the afterlife, right? Like your initial
Yeah.
question. So like
Hmm.
if if the belief is that all of the actions are leading towards a rubric of getting into heaven or hell, it it
Hmm.
it takes away the value and the meaning of the
Right.
actions
I
taken in
agree.
this world. And also it makes it
Right.
psychologically so much more difficult to break or
Yes.
to psychologically to
Yeah.
believe, to have faith that you can transcend ego into a
Hmm.
state of presence and being in this world that is not connected to the story of self in our minds. Like I think that to me
Right.
that that's difficult. It's difficult to
Mm.
navigate a feeling of contentment or peace
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
everything is geared towards what will happen at the end of this all. You know what I mean? Like,
But what? But this is why it's not. This is why this is. I agree in the sense that this is why it's not. I do these things to impress God so that I get something from God. When I've restructured my way of thinking, instead of going what's best for me and how do I want to live and how what can I do to gain what I want, and go, God is the end goal. All of creation is meant to show who he is. So every star in the sky, from the tiniest atom to the greatest mountain, all of them designed to demonstrate who the creator is in his power. And then my role in this world is to copy him, to act like him, to use and enjoy the stuff that he has given, and to demonstrate who he is through my actions. When the end goal is outside of myself, when the end goal is God rather than myself, then the solution that I have is that because it's for him and for his glory rather than for myself, what's the beauty of it is that I no longer am seeking to serve me. I'm no longer going, I'm no longer going, well, what do I get from this? I want to honor him. I want to serve him in all of it. So that I've got the solution of ego gone. I'm not going to heaven because of what I've done. I'm not going to hell because of what God's done. He gets the praise. It's nothing to do with me. Anything that I get in this life is ultimately a gift that he's given me for his glory. And so it all resounds to him. It's not a moralistic attempt to gain something for myself where arrogantly thinking I can impress God. It's going, I know I got nothing except for him, so I want to live for him, which removes the sense of arrogance and ego that you were talking about.
hmm. Like for you, I'm just fascinated with why, with with why you're here and what
Mm,
what this is for you.
yeah. I want other people to know God, to rejoice in God, and to enjoy him forever. That's the end goal.
To be
I
excited
want
about.
people to. Well, yeah. I want people to be free from hell. Like in practice, I want people to not go to hell. I want people to go to heaven. But better than that, what's the end goal of heaven? Heaven isn't I get to do whatever I want. Heaven is I get to know God and be known by God, which is the purpose for which I'm created. So when I understand that life is not about me getting what I want or me accomplishing what I want, rather life is about God being this demonstrated as glorious. And it just so happens that am a beneficiary of God's demonstration of glory. When I comprehend that and am a part of that, it's
I think,
incredible.
well, I want to further get into this because I think that our missions are
Mm-hmm.
similar. But to me,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the language that you're using is very
Mm-hmm.
abstract and unpersonal. And to me,
Sure.
what would help me to understand
Mm-hmm.
how to live in the reflection of God,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what would help me to understand that is for you to share like a story about your life where maybe things were things were rough and then there was something that happened that
Mm-hmm.
made you so passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was that moment in your
Mm-hmm.
life, like specifically? You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Before I do that, can I run to the bathroom for 20 seconds?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. I'll be back in a second.
Interesting. Interesting. I think that like for the people watching, I think that when people get very excited about things, they tend to put it in the abstract, right? It gets very scary and very vulnerable whenever stories become specific and personal, which is something that I'm working with here now, is transitioning from the abstract to the specific, the abstract to the concrete. I think there can be a lot to be mined here. He's a very intelligent guy. Okay.
I'm back.
What's your
Hello,
name?
hello. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, I'm Matt. What's your name?
Matt, I'm Kenny. Kenny, it's nice to meet you.
Kenny. Good to meet you, Kenny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so trying to think about story. There's a lot. So maybe start at the beginning. But I also want, I think the best way isn't just also for me to tell you my story, but also to help you feel what I felt, or explain sort of the way that I thought so. But start here. I think I started in this world. So I grew up in a Christian family. I went to a Baptist church, and
Matt, just a quick second, just take a breath. Just take a breath. Okay, I'm here with you.
So just ran to the bathroom.
It's okay. I'm here with you now, and it's okay. And I'm very excited to hear your story. So there's no need to rush it. We can take as much time as you like, okay? No rush.
Sure, thank you. I've got ADD. So I've grown up in a Christian home, Christian family, and as a child, normally from that type of environment, you basically hear this: if I'm good, I get what I want, or I get heaven, and if I'm bad, I get what I don't want, I get punishment. And so the whole framework of my little mind as a child was be outwardly good and inwardly selfish, basically. So what can I do? So I was gifted with a good memory and a pretty quick thinking brain. So as a child, I discovered in school that if you work really hard, you get rewards. So what would I do? If whoever finished a task first would get a reward. So every day, I just race through every task, do it the best, get the prize, right? Stacking up lots. So my general theory was that life was a meritocracy. That the best, if I could beat everyone else, I could get something from it. So as I get to the end of sort of, I don't know what you would call it in the States, but primary school here in Australia, when I was about 12 years old, my whole life up until that point was outwardly do all the things that impressed other people, and then I get what I want. So that was the way I viewed the world, and I thought God must.
Oh, Matt, do not buzz out here. Oh, hold on, Matt. You're frozen. No, Matt. Wait,
but as I then got into high school.
Hold on. Take a breath. Take a breath. Oh no, it says my internet is not connected. Oh my god. It says the error connecting the server. Oh no. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Okay, automatically re-rolling in a moment. Stop. Stop. Oh, shit. Oh, are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. Okay. Well, we just had an extremely brilliant guy named Matt from Australia here, and we were really getting somewhere. And my internet. This damn internet. It must be this computer. Well, Matt, I mean, if you would like to talk again, please email me at, can I type on this? buildingbridges505@gmail.com. I don't know if you wrote down my YouTube channel. He probably didn't, is my bet, because we just kind of like launched right into it. But what I was fascinated with is just how he, so when I asked him about like a specific example of something, you know, that launched him into this idea of you know, reflecting God, I think he came back and he mentioned that he would like to explain a story, but also that he would like to ascribe feelings, how he felt during those times. And what he did was he equated feeling with theoretical thought. So he was equating feeling with like realizing. Realization for him is feeling. He realized something was a meritocracy. He came up with these feelings, right? Like he did all these things and then he realized, but realizations are not actually feelings. Feelings are happiness, sadness, anger, a feeling of, I don't know, you know, excitement is a feeling. It seems like he's a very excited person, you know. So anyway, these are all just fascinating things, but the thing is that I agree with most of the things that he's talking about. I think one of the interesting things though about him is and about a lot of these approaches is that people like Matt unfortunately come off, I think, to a lot of people as trying to prove that they're right, trying to prove themselves, trying to prove the other person wrong as well. Like, it comes off that way. You know, it's like, okay, you're trying to get me into a trap of believing what you think. But most people really don't like that feeling. I think a lot of people really just like to be just want to be present with a person. You know, they just want to be able to hang out, listen, you know, exchange ideas. I think exchanging ideas requires an openness, requires there not being a set right answer for things, you know. I generally, I mean, pretty much agree with everything that he was saying, except for his approach. And I think that's interesting, you know. It took me a while to settle down with him, and of course, as soon as I settled down with him, I lost him. But I think he's a brilliant dude. I think very quick thinker, and I think his intentions are pure. You know, to go on to Omegle and to talk to people about this, I mean, that's you know, he cares. He cares. So, but I think that we need to not be so sure about things. I think we need to listen and realize that there's a whole lot more that's going on. So I'm saying that because that helps with the approach of listening. But in another sense, I agree with most of the things that Matt's saying, in that I believe that we need to aim to reflect the beauty of this world, and that is found through creative ability and sharing and lifting up and empowering. So, anywho, that's my ramblings post interview, and I think that was probably that was 40 minutes long. So that went fast though. So okay, love you guys and talk soon. Oh no,
What do you think about